Okay, this might be the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. So, a lot of you probably remember a few months ago when I put out a video called A Wreck is a Wreck. In that video, I traveled out to New England's Block Island to investigate some folk legends about Block Island wreckers that I had read about in some old books. Now, if you have not seen that video, I highly recommend you go and watch it before watching this one. But in case you need just a quick refresh of what happened to me out on the island, let me give you the quick version. So, the Block Island wreckers were supposedly a big group of people that lived out on Block Island in the 1700s and 1800s that would basically just tear apart any shipwrecks that would wash onto the island. They would hang out on the island's cliffs and then descend down upon wrecks like vultures to scavenge anything of value. Some of the old stories even claimed that the wreckers would use fake lights to lure boats into the rocks and then use giant clubs and swords to cut the heads off of anyone who swam onto the shore. So when I was first planning to go out to the island, I was expecting to just tell a few old folk tales while I was sitting under the cliffs and that would be it, a 6-minute video, right? But the adventure ended up ballooning way, way beyond that. And before I knew it, I was out on the island, learning about flaming ghost ships. If you stand in the right spot at the right time of night, you just might see the burning specter of the Palatine alit again in the ocean, forever cursing the island for the cruelty and malice of its wreckers. And tracking down some stuff that had supposedly been stolen by the wreckers 150 years ago. We just used a 150-year-old history book to find 200-year-old stone that was drug off the bottom of the ocean by a bunch of Block Island wreckers. And most critically, having conversations with some of the Block Islanders. The most interesting native that I met was a guy named Brett, who told me something pretty crazy. Brett, can you confirm that you have heard of the Block Island wrecking cruise?
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
All right.
For real, yeah, it's actually still going on.
Yeah, that there was Brett telling me that not only does he know about the original stories of the Block Island wreckers, but that they're supposedly still going on today. And what's more, Brett actually gave me some directions to go see something that was hidden in a cove on a corner of Block Island. So I headed on down to the place where he told me to go, and Brett told me that the thing we're looking for here is supposedly right on the beach. It should be very easy to spot. Whew, let's see. There it is. Oh man. Look at that. That is a genuine Block Island shipwreck. A ship called the Galaxy that had crashed on shore just a few days before I visited the island. But that is not even the best part. See, Brett also told me that as soon as the Galaxy here came crashing into the rocks, a whole bunch of people from Block Island came swarming on down from the cliffs to plunder the ship for all the loot and trophies that they could carry. Which literally just sounds like the modern version of being a Block Island wrecker. They are literally salvaging stuff from a wrecked ship. And I kind of thought that that was gonna be the end of my story with Block Island. I didn't really have much else to say. Until a few days ago when I got an email from someone from Block Island. An email from someone who wanted to be kept anonymous. An email with photos of the Galaxy the night that it was wrecked, and a video of the interior of the ship, and photos of the person's favorite trinket that they had salvaged from the wreck. Isn't this just like crazy stuff? Like, we went from hearing about some old folk legends about the Block Island wreckers to finding out that the stories were at least like partially true, to learning that they're still happening today, to finding an actual Block Island wreck, to getting pictures from an actual Block Island wrecker of a ship that we found ourselves. Like, I was standing right there in front of that ship just a few days after this happened. Like, oh man, this is just so cool that this happened. But believe it or not, we're just getting started here. See, my source also sent me some other pictures. Some pretty incredible pictures of other wrecks that washed up on the shore of Block Island. Like, look at these. Here are some photos of a bunch of machinery that apparently got beached up on the rocks. And here is another cool video of a crashed boat getting beat up by the waves. And here is a really, really cool one. This looks like a boat that got washed up on shore at some point and then kind of just got eventually reclaimed by the island's plant life. The emailer also mentioned that plane crashes are pretty common on Block Island, and here's a few cool photos of some of those. Apparently, this one plane that crashed into the tree here ended up staying in the tree for a whole year before someone yanked it down. But as great as all those pictures are, hands down, the coolest stuff that I got here were in a folder that was marked forts. See, when I first came out to Block Island, I already knew about the stories of the wreckers like salvaging stuff for their own use, right? But what I didn't know, what I had no idea about, was that apparently the Block Islanders also sometimes use the debris and stuff that they salvage off the wrecks to build forts on the beaches of the island. Like, look at these pictures. These are so unbelievably cool. These were all built out of stuff that washed up on the beach, like entire castles of driftwood and buoys. This is amazing. Like, this one here even has a deck, and this one has got a TV. Like, I could just look at these pictures forever. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed looking at those as much as I did. Thank you very much to the person who sent me those pictures. You made my whole week, and thank you to you for watching my videos and for all the support. I'll see you next time.